Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 503, recorded on November 14th, 2024. On this week's episode, we talk about a few things like Nintendo's Black Friday sales, and we talk about the latest Direct. No, it wasn't about Switch 2, but it was about Super Nintendo World over in Japan. With that, Jesse, you know what to do.
What's up, everybody? Episode 503 of the Nintendo Dads podcast. It is November 14th, 2024, and the weeks of this year are dwindling away quickly. And we're going to talk a little bit tonight about Nintendo's Black Friday plans, as well as our holiday gift guide, which will tell you where you can go find that and check out our picks for your Christmas list this year. But speaking of our picks, here's two guys that I would pick to be on the show any day. They're wonderful people, some of the best. And really, they just have to be here. They're contractually obligated.
Jesse, especially.
Jesse. Jesse just has to. He has to. Because if not, then there's no way that we could record the show. It would just be me again pushing buttons on my computer to play the music.
It'd just be us acting like we know what we're doing.
Yep, we would just make the music. So, Jesse, how are you, buddy?
Doing pretty good. So I think y'all going to have to start figuring it out soon, because there are going to be 2 weeks in December that I won't be here.
Oh, look, we're going to be off and no shows those 2 weeks. And
that is, did you put that in with HR?
My HR, not this HR.
Well, we'll just, you know what, we'll do it live. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll make it up as we go along.
We will figure something out.
We'll be on a cruise.
And also, Mr. Tim Off, how you doing, buddy?
Well, Jesse was telling us where he's going.
Where are you going?
A cruise from Texas into Mexico.
You should do the producing from the cruise ship. That'll work, right?
I don't think I'll have
jumping over those time zones and everything and location. And by the way,
I'm sure I'll still be in Central Time Zone the entire time.
Have you ever used cruise ship Wi-Fi?
I've never been on a cruise ship, but I don't expect it to be good.
You're not going to be playing anything online. Let's put it that way.
I didn't have to worry about that.
Well, we hope that you have a great cruise.
So do I.
But I also hope that the entire time you're gone, you're thinking about your responsibilities you've left behind here.
I'll be laughing at you.
Yes.
Like so many other people in my life. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
I had something prepared to talk about, but now I'm dreading those 2 weeks coming up. So
yeah, it's gonna be guess who's up?
Right. I'm gonna have to check all my buttons again and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's coming. Tim, you're gonna be the button master. But today, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, actually. Other than the little bit of a cold we've been talking about, and we're all talking about having or getting or whatever, but I kind of feel it there. So
it's always when you people from up north send your air down here.
Yeah,
and which I like your air. Your air is way better than ours. And then like there's this thing that happens. Our air gets all offended, and so the South strikes back, and there's this push and pull for like 6 weeks between, is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cold? What time of the day is it going to be cold? Because it's going to be cold in the morning and at night, but during the day it's going to get up to 70, and it's going to do that just enough to really tick your allergies off.
Well, you know what's frustrating too is up here is that it's cold, but the sun is still beaming into your car. So when you get like that sun beaming in there, it's like hot in the car.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you got everything on because it's cold outside. It drives me nuts.
The heat in my car gets used about 2 months out of the year. The
Yeah.
rest of the time is all air conditioning.
Yes.
It never gets a break.
Yeah, and especially you're a little bit further down south, so
That's well,
it's
yeah,
warmer
yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit longer.
But I seem to remember, like back growing up in October, it would feel like it does now toward the beginning of October, and then by the end of October, it'd be like it's really cold,
Yeah.
and it's just shifting, it's changing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
How
uh,
you been?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm back from vacation. We went to my son and I went to New York. We were at the Nintendo New York store, attended the Mario and Luigi Brothership launch event. That is not why we went. That's not the only reason. It's like we flew to New York to go to the launch event. No, we were there the
Just
day the
good
game
timing.
launched. We were also the day there the next day when they did the launch party. We were just there to hang out and just it really was inspired by us a couple years ago going up there and doing
Hmm.
Extra Life. And my son was like, "Well, I want to go to the Nintendo store." So my wife and her sisters did a "Hey, we're all in our 40s" trip
Hmm.
and took my daughter with them. And so I'm like, "What am I going to do? Can I come on the?" My wife was like, "No, you can't come on the vacation. I guess you need to plan your own trip."
Right.
So we did that, and we did all the touristy stuff. We did the Statue of Liberty and Natural History Museum in Central Park. Saw a Broadway show. It
Did you do the
was
Empire State Building?
We did not.
Okay.
Um, so because there's just so much going on there, there's
Yeah.
only so much you can see.
Right.
And
Yeah, I know.
also, there's only there's only so many things that you can pay $40 a person to do.
Yes. That is very true.
So like the ticket money is in the budget is finite.
Yes.
But we did luck up and get lottery draw tickets for The Lion King on Broadway. The very first night we were there, and we got like the tickets that we got normally cost 280 something dollars. We got them for
Oh,
$35 a piece. We were 7 rows back from the stage.
That's awesome.
It was fantastic.
I
So
bet it
good.
was.
So good. My
That
son says that's
that
his
would be on
favorite
my
part of
list of ones to see if I was there.
Yeah. If you ever get a chance to see it anywhere, it's really, really good.
Awesome.
So yeah, so we had a great time, and we're going to have a great time tonight talking about all things Nintendo. We're going to talk about our news, which I will admit on the front end is scant this week. It's barely there. But then we'll talk our question of the week, our what we've been playing, and answer your questions and comments. So Jesse, you know what to do. Hit that button. All right, our news is brought to us each and every week by you guys over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where you can get access to our Discord, an ad-free podcast feed, access to the dinner table every third Friday of the month at 10 p.m. Eastern, and random prizes and giveaways. Tim, would you like to update some folks on that kind of thing? Seeing as how we just had Halloween Mayhem?
Yes. Yep. We're gonna be giving away prizes for that because we in our Discord, as everybody knows, we have some sort of monthly mayhem going on. So right now, or just this past October, we were taking entries for that. Where it was basically, show us your how you celebrate Halloween in some fashion. So we're kind of voting on those right now, and some people will win some eShop store credit there. And then there's another one that is for even PlayStation. So it's not even for Nintendo stuff. It's for PlayStation for the Astrobot game
Yep, speed
that
runs.
yeah, that John put together. So there's people participating in that. And then not necessarily something to win prizes, but we'll be doing the gift exchange again this year in the Discord. So people are signing up for that. And we also had our mystery box prizes that we gave out, and I finally sent out the fifth one yesterday or today. No, today, because I got the address and of course I was procrastinating, but I finally got it out, and all five boxes were out, and we're starting to get pictures rolling in of people who
That's
got those
cool.
mystery boxes. So
Yeah.
we'll have more prizes to give away as well. So we got stuff
Yep.
Stuff's here
So
still.
what we're saying is that your patronage of the show and us becoming a friend of the show helps us do all of these cool things, like
Yes.
give things away, do additional shows, do meetups, all that kind of stuff, ad free podcast feed. So again, patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. You can join up at $1, $5, $10, or $30 a month. We won't insult your intelligence. You can go and read about all of the benefits that you get from there. But also, if you're a Amazon Prime subscriber and it you get a free Twitch subscription every month by being a part of Amazon Prime, you can throw that our way too. That also gets you access to the Discord. And if you sign up by the year over there, it's free. And remember, if you are listening and you're not a member yet, and you're an iOS user, do not use the Patreon app to become a patron of the show. Please, we would rather save you money. And if you don't, if you use that, Apple is going to charge you an extra 30% on top of your Patreon dues because that's what Patreon's doing to get around the fact that Apple takes 30% from everyone who has an app in their ecosystem every time a subscription is purchased. So, what you can do is either use your Android device, a Windows computer, you can even use a Mac. Just sign up on the web browser. Don't use the iOS app. Circumnavigate, and you'll get all of the same benefits. It will work exactly the same way, just gets around that stupid Apple tax that they're doing. And I love Apple, I really do, but that's dumb. They shouldn't do it, and they'll probably walk it back eventually when enough people complain across all platforms that offer subscriptions. But then again, they're probably not because they like money. So yeah, sign up either on the Android app or on your web browser on your computer. Or I don't even like you can even do it on your like you go to your iPhone and you could go to the web browser, patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, sign up that way. It circumnavigates 30% fee too. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. Anyway, we're thankful for all of our friends of the show that are patrons. We're thankful for new folks jumping in. And again, if you do it by the year, you get a month free. We would love to have you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. All right, let's dive into the headlines. I guess our biggest news of the week is that there was a Super Nintendo World Direct earlier this week, detailing the Donkey Kong Land that will open in Japan on December 11th and soon will come to America as well. We got our first look at Donkey Kong Country, including the Minecart Madness roller coaster ride and the other things going on in that area, like attractions, games, food, and merchandise. Tim is admittedly the only one of us who watched this. And I'll be honest with you, like I'm excited for Super Nintendo World when I finally get to go there, but I just don't get fired up about direct presentations about a theme park. So I'll just go experience it. And also too, because I don't want the surprises to be ruined, right? And I feel like this does. So Tim, you watched, give us a little rundown of what was in this direct.
Well, I didn't feel like it was spoilery in any way. It was kind of like just Miyamoto walking through some of the features that you would see, walking through the tunnel from the Super Mario World to the Donkey Kong section. So it was really cool because in the video that showed, and you could hear the transition from the Super Mario World music to the Donkey Kong music through that tunnel. So it was really cool. And then just some of the camera angles that they gave showing off the environment and seeing some of the locations you would see in the game. And even there was a giant banana pile that looked real, uh, that you could see the banana horde there. But it was just kind of giving that Donkey Kong Country feel and um, telling you what you could do while you were there and explore. And there was a smoothie shop, if I remember correctly, like it is in the game, I think. So
Yep.
there's a smoothie shop there, and then there's the there's little things you can find, little hidden
There's
things you can find, and they didn't show everything, but they were telling you there are certain Easter eggs you can find throughout the park.
mhm. Yeah, one of the things that they will be there is, of course, Donkey Kong is known for having a broader cast of Kongs that people will probably expect to see there, like Diddy and Dixie and others. Cranky Kong welcomes you to the ride.
Yeah,
Donkey Kong you'll be able to do a meet and greet with Donkey Kong outside his iconic treehouse.
that
There's
was pretty
Thief.
impressive too because they did have that Donkey Kong character in the video, and
Yes, costume
and
looks really good.
costume was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, if we go by what they've been able to do, like with the Mario and Luigi costumes, there, like the blinking
Hmm.
eyes, the moving mouth, things like that, that it's gonna be pretty cool. The minecart ride is described as this is the description. Riders will be launched from a barrel cannon on a thrilling minecart journey through the jungle, including an exciting leap across a broken track,
Yep,
as shown
they
in the
did not show
Nintendo
any of that, but
earlier this year.
yes, so you got to go experience it
Yep.
and tell us all about it.
Yeah. So this is opening December 11th in Japan. Just to track with what's going on here in the States, Donkey Kong Country will open at Universal's Epic Universe, which will be opening in May 2025.
Mhm.
So it's not gonna be very long now before fans in the US can experience that as well and go to Funky's flying by. They showed, Donkey Kong plushes will be there, Donkey Kong hats with tie attachments and things. Um, Also, they showed off that the power-up bands that they've already had in the park will be able to be used to collect Kong letters, like in the games.
Yes.
So very themed. I've never been to a Universal park. My wife just got back from one. She when we went to New York, they went in the opposite direction. Her and my daughter and her sisters. They went to Universal, and as a we're pretty big Disney fans, and she said Universal like really impressed her,
Hmm.
like with the way that things were set up, the theming, and she was excited to get to do, the she didn't do the Nintendo thing, which I don't understand why she didn't,
She's waiting
but
to do it with you. That's why.
yeah, I guess so. So,
You got to go again with her, and
um,
then that way you can do it then.
yeah, yeah, I guess so. But anyway, is the well, actually, I don't think the Nintendo World is not open in Orlando yet. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think
No, no,
it's.
yeah, the entire park is opens in May, and the
That's
Donkey
right.
Kong
That's right.
section
That's
will
why she
be
didn't do it.
part of that opening.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to open, and then it's going to have the Donkey Kong section, and the one in at Disneyland in California is not for a while. I think
You
that'll
mean
be the one that
the Universal in California?
the one that's out there near
Okay.
Disneyland. That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
I don't know if the California one has room for it because it was a pretty tight squeeze in the first place.
Hmm. Will be interesting. We'll see. So if you are going to this when it opens in Orlando, we would love to talk to you about getting us some video and
Well,
some.
Miyamoto called me and said he was going to try to get us there. So,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, so
Really? Because
we
I
might
mean,
have to
like,
change our plans for PAX and
yeah, I was gonna say it's gonna be close to PAX, and that's a long flight to Japan. But
no,
I'm
I mean in May for the opening here in Orlando.
oh, okay. Well,
We were going to be there for the ribbon cutting and everything because we're Nintendo dads, so
right. And nothing says Donkey Kong like Nintendo Dads,
We
yep.
wish.
right? Yeah, I do wish that would happen. But anyway, you can go check out the details. That video is only about 10 minutes, so if you haven't seen it yet, go to YouTube, look up Nintendo's account. It'll be there. And speaking of Nintendo, another big news item this week is Nintendo has announced their Black Friday 2024 deals. Beginning on November 24th, you can check out select local retailers. That includes Best Buy, GameStop, and Target and Walmart for deals on Nintendo games, including $20 off suggested retail price of certain games. So if you have not gotten any of these yet, um, I don't know. I don't know how to help you. But if you haven't gotten any of these
What's
yet,
wrong with
you
you?
probably right. You probably have. But I mean, there may be new Switch owners who are just now getting into the ecosystem. Tears of the Kingdom will be on sale for $49.99. There will also be a selection of games on sale for $39.99, including Super Mario Maker 2, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Pikmin 4, the physical edition of Nintendo Switch Sports, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I'm going to make a note here. Is the physical edition of Nintendo Switch Sports the one that comes with the leg strap?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes.
So that's actually a pretty good deal if you want that type of thing. So, I mean, and it's had some updates, so it's a little fuller now than it used to be. Also, a couple games will be on sale for $29.99 as well. Super Mario Odyssey and Pikmin 1 and 2. Those will be $30 as well. Also, while you're at it, you can grab $20 off the suggested retail price of the Neon Red and Neon Blue Joy-Con controller combo, and the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Which that's a pretty big deal. They don't put that controller on sale very often.
Right.
So that's going to bring it to what? $59.99?
It's not $70, is it?
Is it $69.99
Maybe it
normally?
is. Maybe it is.
Switch Pro controller.
I'm looking it up too.
I mean, that's it is $64.99 at GameStop. Yeah. So it'll be $49.99. And
Okay.
if you're looking, that's a good controller. $10 off also on the Nintendo Switch carrying case and screen protector. Only the Tears of the Kingdom edition, though. So your mileage may vary on that. Also, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle, which the bundle that will never die, is new for this year. It is the so you can get that for
There's still two different ones. There's
yeah.
still the
There's
original
still two different
bundle,
ones. Yeah,
and then there's the OLED one that is new.
yeah. The OLED bundle is new. Let's talk about the old one again. $299.99 for a Mark II Switch, and that's a savings of $79.98. Also new for this year, the Nintendo Switch OLED Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle, which is $349.99. It's basically the Switch OLED price with the game included. Also,
and I think also 12 months of NSO
Yes.
Individual. Yeah.
yeah, an individual 12-month NSO account on
That's
both
why
of
it's a
those.
savings of 80 instead of 60.
Yes. Also, Nintendo Switch Lite Hyrule Edition with bonus Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, which is a 12-month as well. That's a suggested retail price of $209.99, which is why it's that price, because it would be $199.99, but they're giving you the deal with the 12 months. Also, there'll be Nintendo events at participating stores beginning as soon as this weekend when you hear this podcast. November 16th through the 17th, participating Target location will be hosting live demos of Super Mario Party Jamboree. Also, Best Buy Family Fun Day on December 7th will give folks the opportunity to experience Mario and Luigi Brothership, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and Just Dance 2025. By the way, I just wanted to mention this as an aside because it just popped up in my brain. That my wife sent me this article this week that statistically, the most stressful game a person can play. Do you know what it is? They
Mario
did some
Kart.
research. It's Mario Kart. They found that a person that went the surveyed, the people they surveyed, that the heart rate of those surveys rose 31.25% when playing Mario Kart,
Yep.
as opposed to other games. I'm like,
Makes sense.
You're doing it wrong. I don't like, I don't know that apparently they've never studied my family trying to play Overcooked,
Right.
which we played one time and my wife looked at me and said, "Don't ever ask me to play this with you again." It's like, well, pick up the tomatoes and put them where they're supposed to go. Chop them.
Right. Do your job and then you don't have to worry about it.
Right. I was told her, I said, well, next time if we ever play again, you say yes, chef. Anyway, Family Fun Days on December 7th. On December 14th, Select GameStop locations will also be hosting demos of Mario and Luigi Brothership, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Mario Kart 8, and Just Dance 2025. So, lots of stuff coming up. It kind of feels to me like Nintendo realizes that they've got to make one big final push for the Switch this holiday season to get them through.
They want to beat those DS numbers.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I wanted to ask you guys about this. I don't know, you may have talked about it on the show when I didn't get to be here. Have any of you gotten an email from Nintendo that suggested buying another Switch for your family?
No, I don't think I did. Unless it came in today. I haven't checked my email.
No,
it
was a few weeks ago.
I didn't pay attention to it.
I got a marketing email from Nintendo that was basically like, you know what's better than one Nintendo Switch in your house?
Two.
Multiple Nintendo Switches in your house. And that's when that came out, I was like, yeah, they're not gonna meet their goal.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the first fiscal year, we were a 4-switch household because all the kids still lived at home.
Yeah.
I had one, and each of the kids had one by then.
We have 4 in use here.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I think about it, I think we have 4 switches in the house now. I have my OLED. I gave my old one to my oldest daughter, so that one doesn't count anymore. But my son has. I think he has an OLED, and he has 2 Switch lights, including the Zelda one.
I wanted to go back and find this email and make sure that I was not lying about this. This came in on October 30th. The title of the email is, "Hey Marty, tired of sharing your Switch?"
Never shared my Switch in my life. Thank you very much.
You open it up and it says Nintendo Switch for all. If you play a lot of local multiplayer games in your household on a single Nintendo Switch system, it might be time to add another system to the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Games like Animal Crossing New Horizons and Splatoon 3 can be more fun when everyone has their own screen. And then from there, it has Shop Now, a link for you to browse systems, and then at the very bottom, how to transfer to a new system. It's like, yeah, they are.
I have a video out there. I have a video out there about how to do that because I remember making that video when the OLED came out, and I'll probably make a similar video when the successor comes out.
Yeah,
we actually have a 5th one in the house. Now that I think of it, but it's broken, and it's one that it's a Switch Lite. And it's one I'm thinking about buying a kit that they sell out there now where you can update your Switch Lite with an OLED screen and be able to dock it.
Ooh.
It's $100 kit.
Ooh.
It's $100 kit.
Yeah.
So actually it might be a little cheaper. I think the $100 or $120, it's somewhere in the $100 range where you can get it with a new case too. And I'll need that too for if I'm going to mod it.
Nice. That sounds really good. We don't suggest you doing that at all. If you're out there listening,
mine's broken.
From Nintendo, we don't suggest you do that. Just just know it's out there. Anyway, those are Nintendo's Black Friday deals. You can probably see all the other gaming companies' Black Friday deals at this point because I know that some retailers are already doing Black Friday sales. That you can get into this weekend. So if you are looking for deals, now is the time to start. And I would say this too, because yes, we're Nintendo dads, but also if you are in the Xbox or PlayStation ecosystem, know that they will do massive digital sales the weekend of Black Friday, and you'll be able to get some AAA titles for fairly ridiculous
especially
prices.
If the game is made by Ubisoft.
Yes,
because they are hurting for funds for revenue right now.
Marty, what's the other thing you tell parents to do when they buy a new system?
Oh, well, always open it up and update it before Christmas so that and then seal it back up for the magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
because the last thing you want to do on Christmas morning is sit through 3 hours of updates while your child just
Yeah.
wants to play Mario.
Especially because of the store, everybody else is doing it
Yeah.
too.
Well, yeah. The network will be bogged down. The network will be attacked with DDoS attacks.
Because people are terrible.
It's not the first time that's happened. Not the third time that's happened.
I will say that last year, I did not see widespread report of those systems going down on Christmas. But usually when they go down, it's not just one, it's all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the big three. It's Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox. Get it out, update it, download the game. There you go.
Yeah. Set up
awesome.
Set up the default profile.
Honestly, the worst Christmas morning.
Add your credit card information.
It was the best and the worst. Best and the worst, okay? Was the Christmas morning that that the Nintendo, the NES showed up. And I'm pulling it out of the box, I'm freaking out. And then my dad spends the next hour trying to figure out how to hook it up. And the whole time I'm like,
that hour felt like 8 hours.
By then, later. Having grown up with television and Atari, setting up an NES was a piece of cake.
Yeah. So just full disclosure, like we didn't have anything like that. The closest thing we had to that was a VCR. All right. And this was back when you, at least for RTV, you had to do the thing with the little clamps, like the two.
Yeah, I had to physically screw the antenna on.
And you had to, and it had the box that
and television Atari did the same thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we had never had anything like that at our house. So finally, the TV came on, did the staticky, and there was Mario.
In all his glory.
It was like getting a Red Ryder BB gun. Which I think I got a Red Ryder BB gun that Christmas too.
And then later on, you learned you can chain RF switches together. So I had my NES tied in with my Super Nintendo, tied in with my cable box, all into my VCR. So I had one input to do anything I wanted. All I had to do was turn on whatever system.
That's amazing. We lost something when we lost that. Now it's like you got to have 15 HDMI inputs or a hub that is of dubious quality. Anyway, let's move on and talk about some release dates, updates, game updates. Out now, Sea of Stars big Dawn of Equinox update has launched. This includes all new local co-op, Combat 2.0, a revamped prologue, bonus cinematic scenes, speedrunner mode, difficulty presets, improved parrot relic, Quebecois localization, and all kinds of other quality of life improvements. This is available right now and all for free. So I may dip back into this game and finish up that the last quest to get the true ending. Also out today, Lego Horizon Adventures is out, as well as Dragon Quest 3 2D HD remaster. And so Lego Horizon Adventures, yes, it's PlayStation IP on Nintendo. It is out. You can get that on, I guess
that's like two games now, right?
I was almost gonna, I think, it is
the show, and then this, seeing the PlayStation Studios logo pop up.
And I was just about to say, hey, this is on all major platforms, but it's not. It's only on PlayStation and Switch.
Not on Xbox.
Yep. Sorry. Although Xbox games may soon be on PlayStation, according to Phil Spencer. Anyway, a couple of things we wanted to throw out there out soon. We've got probably videos of these coming out. My Sims Cozy Bundle is out on 11/19. And then on the 10th of December, I know some people will be really interested in this, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered will be out then as well. So
Yeah,
Not a
I plan on having a video of the collector's edition unboxing of Dragon Quest up this weekend. I recorded that this afternoon. I just have to edit it.
awesome.
And then I plan on doing a stream of Dragon Quest start of game either this weekend or maybe Monday.
Cool. I will be anxious to see it because I'm actually really interested in that game, but I want to see some. Probably going to get it, but I'm going to
Yeah.
wait a little
A
bit.
lot of people consider it one of the best Dragon Quest games. I've only finished it once, and that was the previous Switch release that was like a mobile port that was slightly enhanced and was pretty awkward.
Yeah. Okay.
So well, I'll be looking forward to playing a game that has a consistent art style
Mm,
instead of two clashing art styles.
sounds good. Well, guys, with that, let's discuss. All right, so I know we usually talk about what we've been playing later on in the show, but I want to take just a minute here and talk about Mario and Luigi Brothership because all three of us have been playing this game, and our question of the week is related to the game. So before we get into our question of the week, I thought it would be cool to go ahead and talk about what we think about the game. Um, and so just general impressions, maybe talk about a little bit about how far we are. No spoilers, obviously, because I know people are still making their way through it. But I guess the first question would be is do you guys both have history with the Mario and Luigi RPG games?
Yes.
Yes, I haven't finished all of them, like Paper Jam, Sticker Star, those I didn't. But I have at least tried to play all of them.
Yeah.
I beat Superstar Saga. I beat Bowser's Inside Story. I beat the DS one with the babies that I didn't like, but I still finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably say I'm about the same. There were certain ones I beat, and I can't remember all. I know Superstar Saga was one of them. Um, and I
Wasn't
think,
like a Dream one as well? Luigi's
yeah,
Dream something. I forgot. I don't think I finished that one either.
yeah,
Technically, Sticker Star is classified as a Paper Mario game. So,
Oh, right. That is Paper Mario.
but
But
there, I mean,
they
and I see how it's easy to get confused because Paper Jam was a crossover
there was a
yeah.
between the
crossover.
Paper Jam
two.
was another one that I beat. So, but then there was other ones
Yeah.
that I didn't either. But yeah, there was. It's hard to beat Superstar Saga, maybe because it was the first, but that was such a good game, and
Yeah.
the
So
writing was great in that one
I
too.
played Superstar Saga, beat it. Partners in Time beat that one. Inside Story beat that one. Dream Team was where I really started to struggle. I think they started to struggle as well.
Mm,
That game felt like it took forever to get through.
Yeah, like
Um,
the series has a history of really dragging out the back half with
yeah,
backtracking, fetch quests, and just general BS. And when I got to about the halfway mark of the game, I started to worry, what type of BS is this game going to throw at me?
right. Right. And by the time I made it to Paper Jam, I was burnt on the series. And that's the one I've never finished. So just full disclosure, those first four I did and was fine with, I guess, except for Dream Team. I was
Yeah,
more relieved to be done with it than
yeah,
I didn't really enjoy it.
yeah.
First three are really good.
Not counting Brothership because I don't know where it lands yet. My favorite Mario and Luigi game has been Bowser's Inside Story.
Gotcha. Yeah, that one's excellent.
Though I didn't
Excellent.
buy the 3DS remake because that shouldn't have been remade on the 3DS. That just should have
No,
been put on the Switch.
I agree. I agree. Obviously we've had some history with the series, so just wanted to say that so that we could talk about this game in a way that we it feels like we've been informed. We're not going to going into this blind. So knowing that, what are early impressions about Mario and Luigi Brothership do you have? Like how is it sitting with you a weekend?
think I think the combat itself is probably the strongest part of the game. It's it does what the Mario and Luigi series has always done, and just kind of keeps doing a good job with. You have to watch for the enemy's tells to know what type of attack they're going to do, who they're attacking, how to defend against it and or counter it, and it's so those that part of the game I think is still strong, and it's still pretty fun. Uh, it can get chatty, uh, especially after a mission, and sets you up with side quests. A lot of I haven't seen like frame skips as much myself. I just don't notice that sort of thing as much as other people do. So that really I've heard people complain about it, but that really hasn't bothered me. Um, but I think the thing that does bother me the most so far is the load times going in and out of battle. And I think I said this last week. I'm hoping this extra power of whatever the successor is, now that we know backward compatibility will exist, will help. Especially if they go NVMe, like I'm hoping they do. Then the load times will be a lot faster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. It's for me, it's I'm only about 5 hours into it as opposed to Jesse's 25 hours.
Yeah, I broke the 26-hour mark today. I played a little bit
Yeah,
before my class.
nice. Yeah, so but the 6 hours of it is I like the combat, like you said, I'm enjoying the combat as well, and I like some of the power ups, I guess you can do if you want to call it that, or things you can do with like the clothing and stuff like the accessories you can buy and all that kind of stuff you've been able to do before. Um, upgrading the boots and
Yeah,
the
yeah. The
overalls
plug
and all that
system
stuff.
is new, and I kind of like that. They
Yeah,
let you they give you they let you kind of customize your what bonuses you want at the time that has an expiration. Like you can only use this 5 times, or you only use this 10 times, and once it's spent, then you have to wait a duration of turns, not battles, but just turns. Like could be 30, it could be 50, depending on the plug, before you can use it again.
nice.
And as you progress, you get more plugs. So you start with 2. I currently have 4. I don't know what the max is yet because again, I'm only halfway through the
I
game.
haven't even made it to
I
the
haven't,
plugs
yeah, I
yet.
haven't made the plugs yet either. That's what I was saying. It's
Oh,
like, okay,
really?
now I know what to look for.
Now, so yeah, I will agree with you guys. I think the combat is incredibly strong in this game. I love how they've basically made every attack a tandem attack. Compared to other games where it was like, I'll charge up the hammer and it's A for Mario and B for Luigi, or I'll jump and I'll get the extra hits, A for Mario, B for Luigi. This is uh my big gripe
Yeah. And
is
that only works if both brothers are first
yes,
standing and
that's true.
status free. If they have a negative status, then they can't take part
Yeah.
in that. You can't get that bonus.
Where my big gripe is the whoever decided that Luigi didn't confirm everything with B, like it's been in
And
all
that's what
five previous games.
that's what I said last week.
And that is
And
the
again,
weirdest thing. And
26
sometimes
hours in, and I still mess up Luigi's attacks because of that.
that's what I was going to say. Sometimes I completely mess up a round of his attacks
Mhm.
because it's press A and then he's immediately jumping into attack and it's back to pressing B. There's got to be an update or something there that they could do. I mean, we're used to the selector of attacks or actions, there being a back button that you could, if you, or whatever, that you select with B for Luigi and A for Mario, not B to back out of everything. So whoever did that, fired. That's that is a fireable
Dang.
offense. to me, because
Zero tolerance for Marty.
and also I want to say this is I'm loving the game so far.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of being able having all these different locales to visit, the islands, and it's kind of like a Wind Waker / Mario game, like you're sailing the seas and finding the
all the
relics.
electricity puns.
Oh, absolutely. Those are fantastic. Wattnist and the
characters named what was it? Like Emmett
Dinah.
and Diode.
Yep.
There was one other thing that I caught that
the
I
unit tree. I've always thought that the writing in these games is stuff that shines. Right?
Did you guys catch on the first island where you have, all the rock and all that kind of stuff, stones, and they do artwork and stuff like that with?
Yeah.
The main character's name is Wilma. And in one of the scenes, you yell out, Wilma!
Yeah.
And it reminded me of Flintstones.
It was a Flintstones reference.
Yeah.
It's so good. The other thing that bothers me about this game is that...
And then... go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, you meet Wilma's kids. Make it and build it.
Billdit. Build it and make it. MAYKIT. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. That's good quality.
I actually stopped and went, oh no, when I saw that in my stream of the first hour.
The other thing that I think is a kind of a miss in this game is that Luigi in some ways is the focus, like with the Luigi logic and things like that, but in other ways
he's very passive.
They've turned Luigi more into an item that follows you around and not a character.
Yeah.
Because if you remember in the other games, like if you came to a gap and you had to jump it, you had to jump that with both Mario and Luigi. Now you don't. Luigi does his own thing. And it's like you can command Luigi to go do stuff. Well, that's okay, but it's like he's a dog.
But a dog with social distancing problems, because if he's too far away from you,
he immediately forgets anything.
He panics calls for you, and then you are then forced to stop what you're doing, backtrack a few feet until they're back in range.
Unless the game,
I hate it when they interrupt me like that.
Unless the game makes you separate them, and there's times it does that.
That's when Luigi's more sitting still, and Mario's doing the running around. But if Luigi's running around and gets too far, he'll panic.
Yeah, It's definitely, I mean, I think they made a good attempt at it, but Luigi doesn't feel like a fleshed out character in some ways to me. He feels like, well, he's there as a Deus Ex Machina, I can't get through this door. I bet it's Luigi. And sure enough, it is. He's going to squeeze through the slats instead of trying to find a way over the wall, or he's going to press the button, or he's going to do that. And I guess in a way it's fine. It's just, that's not been the way it's been in the rest of the series.
Yeah, every time it goes into a Luigi logic moment, I'm like, what is he going to do now?
Yeah,
I'm scared to find out.
They're interesting. At least I do like the integration.
Sometimes they're funny and good. Sometimes they're like, really? Like
I do like
that was weird.
The Luigi logic integration with the boss fights is a totally different new thing. I like that. It's environmental stuff going on. Gives you a chance to score some big damage. But again, like you said, the combat really shines. I think the music is and visually, it's very aesthetically pleasing. I love this design, the way the characters look. There's not too much to complain about here.
Yeah, you probably haven't gotten that far yet, but the main villain as this part of the game is all concerned about numbers and efficiency and whatnot, and could give no two thoughts about people's names. Okay. Mario, Luigi, and his own grunts. He doesn't say anyone's name right, and that's kind of funny.
Okay.
And then the goons will pick on each other because of the bosses calling the goons wrong names.
Where I'm at in the game, I just made it past the first Great Lighthouse.
Okay. I just passed the third.
Okay. And you're 25 hours in. I know that they said
Yeah,
that somewhere that this is like a 45-hour game.
that's what I heard.
35 to 45 hour
Which,
game.
35
which
to 45.
is which is
I'm
about
okay
in
with
line
it.
with other MNL games.
Yeah, it's and I'm like I said, I'm about 5.5 hours in, and I haven't gotten to the first great island yet. So,
Oh, okay.
or first great
I mean,
lighthouse.
you'll be there. You'll be there. It's
Yeah, I
gonna
think you're
happen.
close.
Yeah, I got
Yep.
about 4 islands for the little islands
Oh,
done.
then yes, that's like the
Yeah,
next thing to
I
me.
think there are 5 islands in the first grouping. So
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Anyway, so that's our thoughts on Mario and Luigi. I think from just hearing us talk about it, this is a game that we recommend. The reason I want us to go ahead and talk about that is because our question of the week this week was this. One of the biggest stories out of Mario and Luigi Brothership's launch was IGN's 5 out of 10 score for the game, in which they were pretty critical about it as well. And we asked the question, do reviews influence your hype or enjoyment of a game? We got several responses here. Ryan Muncie says, single reviews don't influence when I buy a game, but seeing many of them can sway me. I pre ordered Brothership because it looked good and will play it, but decided to wait until I finish other games. Darth Platypus says, didn't care too much about the scores. If it's a game, I'm not sure if I'll read. If it's a game, I'm not sure if I'll read some reviews, particularly of people who've enjoyed games that I've enjoyed. Simon Hawkins says, I normally take notice of reviews, but in this case, I'm glad I didn't see it before I bought the game. I'm really enjoying it. If I'd have read the IGN review, I might not have bought it. The Jiggy Collector says, influencers have zero effect on buying a game. I'll buy the game, but I would say word of mouth is a better opinion than listening to IGN. Mecca chimes in with, it kind of does if it's a game I've never heard or a new IP, but I usually prefer just listening to word of mouth, either in my friend group or social media. Zablanc says, I ignore the review scores, but I definitely pay attention to what I see in the reviews, and it does have an effect. For example, I'm currently skipping Brothership for now because of the perceived performance issues as well as the extended game length. Things that annoy me for a game like this. I'd rather just play a more polished Dragon Quest III first, then maybe come back down the road. But despite Lego Horizon's even lower Metacritic score, the critiques were about difficulty and simplicity. And since I'm playing that co-op with my wife, it's not a negative to me, and I'm enjoying it immensely. So it really just does just depend on specific strikes against the game and the game itself. David Bileka says, reviews don't influence my opinion or hype on a game release, but they do make me pay attention to any deficiencies that are specifically called out: graphics, performance, music, story. For that reason, I tend not to read many reviews as I want my own unbiased opinion on how I enjoyed and rate the game. Tastes in games vary on person by person basis, and no one will have your exact opinion, but to each their own. I see why people would want to read and get feedback from a review. And then Bruce from Star Wars Dad says, not reviews specifically, but I do watch some review videos on games that I'm on the border of pulling the trigger on. When it comes to Star Wars, I just watch reviews to see what the game looks like and sounds like, but not putting what they say and feel about the games into consideration that much because I already know what I want and what I like. Game on, Nintendo Dads. You're the best at Nintendo talk. So, Jesse, Tim, do reviews influence your hype or enjoyment of a game?
I think my opinion on it is close to what Mecha Dragon said about if I haven't heard about the game or if it's a new IP and something about I'm on the fence about it, and I need to get some opinions on it from somewhere else. I forget who said it, but somebody said, somebody who's similar in my taste in games or something, then I'll kind of listen to that. Um, but scores. Probably not so much because for the most part, I kind of ignore those. I'm trying to think back on that. Let's see. But yeah, I want to hear what people are saying about it. And I like it when they're actually doing kind of what we do in our videos, where we're kind of taking either a first look at it or we're doing a let's play of it to kind of see people's reactions as they're playing it. and not necessarily something scripted, although some of those are still beneficial and informative. It just depends on, if I'm how stuck am I, or on how much of the fence am I on, and how much information do I need to get on one side or the other. So, and yeah. And then other times I listen to see if I'll go watch reviews to see if anybody has any of the same opinions that I do. Like I've already been playing the game. Like when we were playing Inscription, I was like, okay, hey, I want to know what other people are thinking about this game because I'm loving it, So I kind of want to go see other reviews and scores and seeing if anybody's on the same page as me. And it's not often, but sometimes, there's a game I really like, but other people are like, nope, this game sucks or something like that. Or it's got a low score.
Yeah, for me, no. Uh, Especially IGN lately. Uh, a lot of modern journalists are really pushing the whole DEI thing like crazy. Uh, like Concord, they gave that a good score, and we saw what happened with that. A lesser known game, if I don't know if you've heard about it, called Dustborn, which IGN gave a 7, which is just a completely ridiculous game. On Steam DB, which reports concurrent players on Steam, players right now, peak numbers in the last 24 hours and peak numbers of all time. This quote unquote good game, 7 out of 10, has an all-time player count of 83. Less than 100 people.
Wow.
That just doesn't line up. That doesn't
Yeah.
add up. I don't remember what game it was, but they gave one game a lower score because, quote unquote, it isn't inclusive enough. Don't rate games on what it isn't. Rate games on what they are. So, yeah, right now, my opinion of IGN and a lot of review scores in general is at a low. And I don't care what they say. I know what I like. I'll play what I want. Soapbox down.
Nice.
So
Carlos
growing up,
Delago says, breach!
growing up in the era of video game magazines, where you waited month by month to get reviews on games, I
Right.
think review scores meant a lot more. Like
That,
as
and
a
there wasn't, and back then you only got 2 or 3 games, so those scores mattered.
yes.
It really determined which games you got
So
because you
like
weren't buying your own games; you were relying on gifts.
yeah, I remember really paying attention to the scores of Electronic Gaming Monthly. I felt like if they gave a game an 8 or a 9, it deserved an 8 or 9, and very rarely a game got a 10. You know.
Was that the magazine that actually had 4 different people review the same game? And
Yes.
so
Yes.
that's a good idea.
And they would review a game and they would include their thoughts as well, which
I think Famitsu still does that in Japan.
right. I know that what you said, I agree, Jesse, with what you said about reviews, but I will also say that I think reviews of big games, especially from Nintendo, like, and maybe I'm going out on a limb when I say this, is it's almost become a performance. It's like performance art, because everybody expects there to be a good score because we know Nintendo's track record, right? And there's always
Right.
going to be like those 1 or 2 outliers who are going to trash it for the clicks. And it just so happened that this time it was IGN. Now, I don't know. I've read snippets of the review. I don't agree with it. There are some valid points, I think, but I'm like you. I don't
Yeah.
see those
And
negatives.
I heard him to talk about it at NVC last week, and he really had an issue with the end game. He didn't detail why. He just said last 10 hours was miserable for him.
And maybe we're going to get there and go, okay, I get it. but not being there
Right.
yet. I'm
But no
having a
one's been
great
there
time
yet.
with it. And
At least none
I
of us.
also I also think that because IGN is IGN, there's two things about it that have really kind of set off a red flag. Number one was that it's them giving it that score. Number two is they've totally leaned into, in the week since their review came out, milking the ever loving crap out of it, like reposting it daily with different headlines and using that link because they know, and we know, that negativity brings more clicks than positivity. And we've
Yep.
experienced that. Other people have experienced that. So it's like, oh crap, IGN gave it a 5 out of 10. You don't see the whole bevy of other scores that are like 8, 9, 10, 10 out of 10, 8.5, 7.5.
Because those are the scores you'd expect to see.
Right. You don't see that whole list of them. And by the way, can we just say here, too, 7 out of 10 is not a bad game. That's a decent game.
Yeah,
It used to be that you would see 7s and 8s and go, oh, okay, maybe that just wasn't for them. But now people see 7 and 8 and they go, oh, it's crap. It's got to be 9. It's got to be 10.
Yeah, but using IGN scale, because I think the scale itself is good. It's well designed. They call a 7 a good game, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's like but 6 is okay, and 5 gets into the meh.
Is this not the same IGN that said they were getting rid of review scores a few years ago?
They got rid of the decimal points at least, so they're no longer giving out 8.9s. They're either
maybe this would have been a 5.7 or something. I don't know.
Maybe, but they've been doing a whole number of reviews for several years now.
Yeah, I think that this is where it is good to have demos of games. For right. Whatever it's worth, if you could have even given people a combat demo of this game, I think that would have sufficed.
Well, I'm going to counter this. I agree with your point, but the countering what IGN said about the end of the game really killed it for him. Going back to last year's Tears of the Kingdom, the end of the game made it for me. It would not have been so high if it wasn't for the ending. So the ending can still make it or break it, no matter what the rest of the game does. And I understand that.
And again, like Tears of the Kingdom, not everything is for everybody.
Yeah, right. Or Jesse, like the Sea of Stars, the ending you didn't care for, and that's why you were like, I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it would be better for IGN to move to a multi-reviewer. They're big enough to move, at least to have a point counterpoint of their reviews. That like, okay, this person said it was 5 out of 10. Well, this person says it's an 8 out of 10. So let's see why, other than arguing about it on the internet. I'm the type of person.
Metacritic.
I'm the type of person, and somebody said this, and I can't remember which of the comments it was, that I try not to read reviews of games that I'm really excited for or that I know are going to be big games that I'm interested in, because I don't want to know any of the details about that game. I want to be genuinely surprised. So like when Tears of the Kingdom came out, like I had watched the Nintendo Directs about it, but that was it. I didn't know any of the other stuff that people had discovered or that people knew from like getting leaked or whatever, because I try to keep myself in a bubble for that. So, for this, I saw the score and went 5 out of 10, and I legit said, that's probably going to be an 8 out of 10 for me because I like this series.
Yeah.
So what's it at on Metacritic?
Well, that goes with what we were saying for some games. Is like there's certain games that you're going to buy anyways, right? So like Mario and Luigi games, even though this was going to be a new publisher doing or new developer doing the game, it was still going to be Mario and Luigi, and we were all ready to dive in, because of previous Mario Luigi games. For the most part, we're good and we're willing to give it a try. And especially because it was a newer developer, we were like, okay, we'll give this a chance because maybe they'll break some of those things that Jesse brought up when with playing the ones that were more recent.
Yeah, so the Metacritic is for critic scores is 79 with about 82% positive, 18% mixed, no negative. The user score is an 8.2 with about the same 80% positive with 9% mixed and 11% negative. So
Okay.
they have to, so they just have this is more user scores
I think
than the critic scores.
what another game that comes to mind about I'm gonna buy regardless of reviews is Metroid Prime 4, obviously. So, and I know that one there's a lot of people that are gonna be, probably love it, hate it type thing.
Mm.
So,
It will probably have some pretty polarizing
mhm.
reviews, especially as I've said for a while I think that's going to be the swan song game for the current Switch model.
Yeah.
So there'll be people who won't want it to end there. There'll be people who are okay with it being there. People who don't like that way of that genre of Metroid. Uh, there are people who love it. That is their favorite type of Metroid, first person. So yeah, I get it. And so I think just the roundup here is that reviews seem not to matter as much. A review score seems not to matter as much to people anymore. What they're more interested in is what is the reviewer's experience? What did they point out that they like and don't like? That's why we try to do that on this show. That's why I try to do that in my playthroughs. Things say, hey, here's the things I liked. Here are some things I didn't like, because I want people. I think word of mouth. You have your people you trust, right? You have
Mhm.
your people you go to, and I've learned that for some people we are the go-to for them, and that's okay. It still blows my mind that happens, but one. I think we're past the point of one bad review breaking a game. But I do think there are things to consider, and considering sources, like Jesse said, with the way they're scoring some of the games, consider your source. Find people that kind of speak into the things that you value,
Mhm.
Yeah, if
and
you
That's
let
find a
them review the
reviewer
game.
that likes what you like, stick with that reviewer.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
why we try to get help from the community to look at games too, because we can't look at everything and
Right
we're
on.
not into everything.
Yeah.
So that's why we try to get community help on that. So you get opinions from different people.
Again, different strokes for different folks, right?
Mhm.
It's very good. Well, let's move on and talk about what we've been playing. All right, Jesse, we already talked about what you've been playing.
That's all I've been playing. I got nothing else.
Unless you have any additions. Tim, you've got a couple of games. Why don't you tell us about those?
Sure. Other than Mario and Luigi Brothership that we talked about, I got the Atari 50 for the first console war DLC that came out recently and blew through that. Watched all the content and looked at all of the content there. Um,
So,
uh,
what did you think of the M Network games? Because I don't know anyone else who's ever played an M Network game besides myself. So it'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are on those.
so I watched all the content. I didn't
Did they
play the
explain
content.
what the M Network games were?
Yes, the Mattel stuff. So, which I thought
Yes.
was really cool. It's doing kind of like what we see today, going back that far. They explain, yeah, it was the first console war between them and Mattel's and television. But it became to where like, oh, we'll make more money if we sell our software on the competitor's console as well.
Yep.
So that's what they did.
So they basically created a new brand because
Yes,
Mattel wasn't going to put the Mattel name on it.
correct. So Um, and yeah, that was pretty cool to learn about that kind of stuff. And what's really cool is having that option to be able to go in and play a lot of those games in the Atari 50
Yeah. And
uh
then last year,
cartridge.
when Intellivision was hemorrhaging funds, not making an Amico, uh, the M Network games were the first games rights that they sold away.
Hmm. And guess who got it?
Yep. And now
So,
Atari owns damn well everything.
right. And again, Digital Eclipse doing this stuff, also doing Tetris Forever, which Marty's going to talk about,
Also
does
owned by Atari.
yeah, yeah, they do an excellent job of all this stuff, putting this stuff together, which is why I still have to go pick up Tetris Forever because I want to check out that content as well. But yeah, highly recommend it. Atari 50, the game, and you can get the full version with both the all the DLC on it and all that kind of stuff. You can get a new steel case for it. I didn't do that. I had the first one that came out, but got the DLC edition added on later. Highly recommended for knowing the history. Atari is a big part of that history, and it touches on the Intellivision history as well, which is great. So you kind of see a lot of this history repeating
Yeah.
itself in a lot of what
Yeah.
it's talking about there.
So going back to the M Network games, did they show what the picture of the carts look like?
Yes, they look like Intellivision carts, but they added on the adapter,
Yep.
so which is great. Um,
So
yeah, it
they look
was.
silly, but they work.
And what's funny is too, I remember seeing those as a kid, those cartridges, because friends had some of those because they had 2600, or the 7200 or 7800. And I'm getting my systems mixed up with 5200 and 7800.
Yeah.
But seeing those cartridges, always wondered like, why is that shaped weird? And then just kind of, going just like, oh, it must be because that's how they make their cartridges or whatever. But never crossed my mind as a kid that because of it being in a television company.
Uh, yeah. Even as a kid, I knew exactly what the hell was going on with
Yeah, I
regarding those
didn't.
games.
I didn't. I was just like, oh, cool. This game's on here. I'm gonna play that. So, um, it's I'm not a reader, so being able to watch the documentary and play stuff on it is I love how they did it with the Atari 50 stuff and how they've done it with other games. Digital Eclipse has done it with other games like the one you talked about, Jesse. The what was that game called again? Kataga or something like that, or
But Karateka.
Karateka. Yeah. So that was one that they did too. So good stuff.
Yeah. Again,
Um,
I'm hoping that they do a Prince of Persia one
that
because
would be cool.
that was designed by the same guy who did Karateka.
Yeah, there was another one I thought would be really cool to see them do. I can't think of it at the moment, but uh anyways, good stuff. The next thing I played recently is the Harry Potter Quidditch Champions game because we got a code to check it out from WB Games. And it was in our groups. Justin was like, "Hey, who out of the Nintendo dads who wants to check this out?" I didn't get to it in time and ended up going to the content creators, and I think Drew said, or no, yeah, somebody said it was like they heard it was a hot mess to play on the Switch, and I was like, "All right, I'll take the code because I want to see if it truly is a hot mess." So there is. You can see my first look on it, and there is some slowdowns. There's some glitches that happen. Um, I mentioned some of them in our chat area too. That you can tell there's some load time issues. It's it's there. It's frustrating, and I hope that they're working on a patch for the Switch for that. And I haven't. I was trying to look for information to see if they're working on a patch. They have released a patch, but it didn't address some of these things that I saw. But I will say, jumping into the Quidditch stuff after going through the training and jumping into a match was a lot of fun, for me at least. Playing Quidditch, I was playing the beater. Um, role, player role, and that was a lot of fun where I was able to chase down other players and beat them with the bat or the ball. Uh,
Just smack him
eh,
out of the sky.
yeah, smack them out of the sky, reduce their health and all that fun stuff. And even taking out the goalkeeper at the right time too when someone was trying to score. So that was a lot of
That
fun. I was
that's
enjoying that.
strategy for you.
Yeah. So I was like, I did play those, and I still have to jump online to try to play the online portion and see how that goes. I have read there's some issues with online, but WB reset some of the server stuff, so hopefully that was fixed. I really hope that some of this stuff gets fixed because I see some promise in the game. So hopefully by Christmas, if somebody wants to get this game for a Potter fan that owns a Switch, that they'll be able to get this and play it and have a good time. Um, so stay tuned to that. Follow them on, their social medias to see if there's any updates on that. Or I'm gonna do probably another video on it because I've learned a lot more since doing that first look video. I played probably another couple hours after that, and probably will be playing some more this weekend. And I'll probably do a let's play to just kind of go over some of the new things I found that I wasn't able to explain in the first look. Um, like one of the things that I learned was, I think there was a up, not an update, an upgrade you can do to your character to improve. Oh yeah, to improve their skills. Like I found there was a bludgeoning skill or something like that for your keeper or not
Like a
keeper for
skill
the
like a
for
skill
the
tree.
beater. Yeah, kind of like a skill tree, but I got to dive into that a little more and I want to explain that a little more too. So, because I didn't see that when I was doing the first look. But again, Harry Potter Quidditch Champions has promise, but I would say don't jump on it just yet. Keep an eye out for any updates uh, for the Switch specifically. I haven't read anything else about the other systems. So if you have another system and want to play it there, then maybe check it out there. I would say at least rent it if you have that capability as well. Check it out that way. So those are the games I've been playing. Marty, I want to
Awesome.
hear about that Tetris Forever.
Yeah, so Tetris Forever is the only other game that I've been playing this week that's new. This is part of, as you mentioned, Digital Eclipse's Gold Master series of interactive documentary style games, and it's released for the 40th anniversary of Tetris. It includes over 15 versions of Tetris, including the brand new Tetris Time Warp, which kind of mashes them all together. But it's a really cool you package. You can jump in and you can begin to play right away. It'll let you pick various versions of the game to play, and then or you can go through the different chapters of the documentary and play each version as they finish talking about it. So I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with that part, but yesterday afternoon was when we got the code. I did go through the first chapter, look at all the pictures, and watch the documentary videos. It kind of talks about how Tetris was discovered originally and how it was brought over here. Of course, there's also the Tetris movie that's out on Apple TV, that you can watch about that. But the versions that are included are pretty varied, and some of them aren't even really Tetris games. Uh, they're in the vein of Tetris, so I'm gonna go through these. Um, there is a recreation of the original Electronica 60 version of Tetris, which, if you know anything about the story of the game, the Electronica 60 computer was very, very limited. It didn't even like have the capability to play games. It was mainly used for work.
Was it like a text space only thing?
Yes, and
Kind of
so
like
he,
kind of like the Commodore PET that was.
yeah,
Oh,
kind of, and
that
so
predated the VIC-20 and the
he
64.
developed this game to be played on that. That's what they were looking at doing. He and some of his friends were looking at developing games for this computer and selling them for a living. That they didn't really feel like they could do that because of the climate in Russia at the time. Um, but this evolved from there. to MS-DOS, and there's two MS-DOS versions of Tetris available in the collection. One is the Academy Soft version. The other is a Spectrum Holobyte version. So that's a name you probably haven't heard in a while.
That's been a long
Um,
time. I
there
recognize
is
the name, but oh
there's
boy.
an Apple II version of Tetris as well that was also programmed by Spectrum Holobyte. And then there are four different Famicom versions of games, including Go, which was served as an inspiration to Tetris. Tetris itself, the Famicom version, which is not the NES version. Let's be clear on that. All right, it's a completely different version of the game. Hatris and Tetris 2 plus Bombliss. For the NES, unfortunately, the only and for the Game Boy, both the only game available for those two systems is Hatris. And that's where I think that would be my negative about this collection is there are some very well-known versions of Tetris that are very, very sorely missed from this collection.
There's
And I
got to
don't
be a
know.
reason why they're missing.
Well,
Probably
it's
ownership or
because
something.
Nintendo's going to put them out on NSO and they want you to pay for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we already
They
know
make. Was
their
there any
version
mention
of
of
Tetris is
Tengen?
coming. No, not that I know of yet. At least not in this list. Super Bombliss is also available in Game Boy version. For the Super Famicom, which this is same for SNES too. Super Tetris 2 plus Bombliss, Super Tetris 2 plus Bombliss Gentai Ban, Tetris Battle Garden, Super Tetris 3, and Super Bombliss are all available. Then for the Game Boy Color, Super Bombliss DX, and then there's Tetris Time Warp, which is the original game created for Tetris Forever. So you can go in. I mean, it's kind of like the Karateka, the Atari 50. Like you can choose to watch the documentary. I think it definitely gives some more weight to these games. The older versions, especially the Electronica, MS-DOS, and Apple II versions, are terrible. I mean, they are faithful recreations of these games, right?
Mhm.
Um, but one, they're just clunky and really hard to play. And one of the more bizarre choices that I noticed the game make that I don't like at all is the way that you bring yourself back to a menu to get out of a certain version of the game is to press down on the right stick.
That is
So
weird.
it's clicking R3
Hmm.
brings up the menu. So no plus, minus, no start, select, anything, at least on the Switch, it's R3. And in the
I guess
Famicom
I guess they want to
version,
keep it consistent with other systems
I guess
because
so.
the other systems don't even have names for their buttons. They're just stupid pictures that meaning nothing.
In the Tetris version for the Famicom, uh there was a change made to the game for that version where rotation happened by pressing the down arrow
Ew.
and hard drop was B or A.
That's awkward.
It was hard to get used to. I also noticed that there are times that the game, especially some of the older versions, ask you to press the A button and it's the B button. So they've got that mixed up for the Xbox version.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So hopefully there'll be a patch that fixes that. If not, but this game is literally
Something like
available
that should normally be
everywhere.
caught in lot checks, so that's weird.
Well,
That one
it's
went.
not. It's on Switch, PlayStation 4, 5, Windows, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Atari VCS even has this game. So there you go.
I
I don't
remember
and like I don't
I did an unboxing video of that system and literally have never touched it since. It's been
and
almost 5 years.
and I will say this as a fan of the game Tetris, I love the history of this. I love the different versions. It's just those I the first time I ever played Tetris was on a Game Boy. then the NES version, then the Super Nintendo version, which was Tetris and Dr. Mario, and then on up through, whatever. I've never played Bombliss, I've never played Hatris. So those versions missing, and I get why Dr. Mario's not on there, but the NES and Game Boy versions missing that's a huge miss for me for this. I don't know. I'm sure Nintendo has their reasons. I'm sure that the developers have their reasons. It's just tough. It's a tough sell.
Do they even
Uh
mention it?
they do. I mean, they show Game Boy. They show
Okay.
people playing Tetris on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
And so, but what I really love is, I mean, you have interviews in this collection straight from the creator
Hmm.
of Tetris, Alexei Pajitnov. So, I mean, it talks about how he came up with the concept and where that came from.
Hmm.
And so just a really cool package. And so I recommend it if you're a fan of Tetris as a concept. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
And I don't know how you would play some of these other games, like the versions. I mean, Game Boy and NES, we can figure that out, but
Right.
the others, I don't know. Anyway, that's what we've
Oh,
been playing.
wait, before you
Before,
go
but
on, go ahead,
Whoa.
Jesse.
Okay,
A
I was
couple
going to
of
say
follow-ups.
I wanted to backtrack to the Quidditch thing and talk about what happened in chat. Victoria says, "I wondered if American Quidditch would be called something else, like football versus soccer." And I responded with broomball, and he goes, "Yeah, that tracks."
That sounds about right.
yeah.
I was going to mention back to Digital Eclipse. I was curious as to how many of this Golden series that they've introduced. Gold Master Series, sorry, was what they had. And there's a number 3 on the Tetris Forever. So I was thinking, like, did they only do 3? I thought they did more games. They did more games, but I don't know if it's part of the same Gold Master Series. For example, and I was looking over this list, I was like, wow, they did that. Mega Man Legacy Collection
Mm-hmm.
was the first one they did. Disney Afternoon Collection,
Mm-hmm.
Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, SNK 40th Anniversary Collection,
Wow.
Medieval on the PlayStation, Samurai Showdown Neo Geo Collection, Blizzard Arcade Collection, Space Jam: A New Legacy, the game. They did that one. Disney Classic Games Collection.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
the
I
one
mean
with Aladdin and Lion King.
they've done a ton of the
The Teenage
Cowabunga
Mutant
collection.
Yeah, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection, which is a really good one, and it makes sense because that one has a good, museum type feel to it. Garbage Pail Kids, Mad Mike, and the Quest for Stale Gum. I've actually heard about that
Yum.
one. Atari 50, their anniversary celebration, the making of Karateka. And actually, I didn't even realize the Atari 50, the anniversary celebration was before.
Also did the Llama Soft game.
So, Candy Creeps, Invasion of the Buffet Snatchers, Jolly Ball, Quipid, Llama Soft, the Jeff Minter story. That's the other one I did that I looked at because of him doing the um, Commodore stuff. Wizardry Proving Grounds of the Mad Overworld. What other? Oh, the Worms Armageddon Anniversary Edition, Tetris Forever, and then they got the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind game coming out that they're doing.
Looking forward to that one. And I'm not much of a
So
brawler, but I want to play that
yeah,
one.
It's like the new Turtle Shredder's Revenge.
if
Uh,
Digital Eclipse is doing a game, history game, I want in. And I think a lot of people have always asked, what game would you want them to do, or what series of games would you want them to do, if they haven't done it already?
mm,
I wanted to
well,
see it's like a similar to the Atari 50 collection, but with Intellivision and ColecoVision.
that would be cool.
Maybe as a
That
set
would be
if there
fun.
isn't enough games to include in their own bundles.
It would be
Honestly,
cool if they did Nintendo.
I would love for them to do a Killer Instinct collection.
That would be cool too.
with documentary
Yeah.
or Mortal Kombat. If they did a Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, oh,
That Mortal Kombat collection would be pretty sweet. That would be
that's
pretty sweet.
I
but with a
that
K.
is the series that I cannot understand why those original games are not playable on modern consoles. You cannot play Mortal Kombat 2 is my
Wasn't
favorite
there?
one.
Didn't they do a
You cannot
trilogy
do
like
it.
on the N64?
They did, and on the
And it's such
PlayStation
a
3
bad
or
controller for
4,
it.
PlayStation 3, I think there was Mortal
Ed Boon
Kombat
lost
2
the
or
code. He lost the code
I
on it.
I don't know. Like I've hit him up on Twitter. I've tried to, at least grease the wheels
Right. That's a good one. But
or say something.
I really think it would be cool if Nintendo worked with them on something, or even if Nintendo did their own thing on a collection type thing that goes back to do the same type of thing to, or even connects to, and that would be sweet. Think about it. If they did NSO thing to where you could go on NSO and go do something like what they do with the Atari 50, but Nintendo, but have access to the history that's already there in NSO to play.
Hmm.
That'd be kind of cool if it was linked there. So, okay.
Good stuff. That's what we've been playing. Let's go over to the community spotlight.
All right. Don't forget, the awesome community gets together in all kinds of different ways. And so we want to remind everybody that if you want to join in how we get together either via the social media stuff or via our streaming of video games and stuff like that. To make sure you subscribe and get notifications on that if you want to join in, especially if we go online and you're part of our Discord, you can just come in usually to chit chat with somebody while they're streaming in our Discord. We also have the dinner table and the NSO stuff that comes up. And then we have nintendodads.org that you can go to check out some of the stuff. Oh, we forgot to talk about our gift ideas when we were talking about the Black Friday stuff. So we'll have to check. Um, let's talk about that real quick. So don't forget about that. If you go to nintendodads.org, in the upper right hand side, there's our menu, and you can go to gift ideas. So for this holiday, each dad gave ideas for you to get something for the Nintendo fan in your life, such as Jesse always has this on his list because it's important, and that is
Yep.
the wired internet LAN adapter. Everybody should have that, especially if they have the capability of hardwiring their dock to their internet. Makes things a lot
If you
easier.
have the OLED dock, you don't need it because you're already good. But anyone
Yes.
who doesn't have an OLED, it is a lifesaver.
And of course, you recommended Dragon Quest 3.
Of
So,
course.
and of course, if anybody knows, Jesse uses the vouchers a lot. So I've added that to your list, Jesse, is also
I saw
a
that. Thank you.
recommendation
I didn't even think of
that
that, but that's a good idea.
to get the vouchers, have them on hand, because it helps save you at least $20.
Though they do
On
expire a
those.
year after you buy them, and
Yep.
you have to maintain the NSO membership.
Well, yes, maintain your membership and also,
So
look, are you buying
there's
Nintendo
some
games?
small print that goes with those
There
vouchers, but
is.
still, if you use them properly, they can be a
Yes.
money saver.
If you're doing those things and you know that you buy at least two Nintendo games within 12 months, get the vouchers, especially digitally. This is talking about digitally. So, and then of course there's Marty's Picks, which is the Nitro Deck Plus, which I plus one on that recommendation there. A couple games you recommended, Jamboree, Super Mario Party Jamboree, and Bellatro. So lots of good stuff there. And then Justin had Prince of Persia because he loved that game. And we all should, if you haven't played it and you aren't into these games that are coming out at the end of the year, go play that game, especially if you're going to talk about game of the year type stuff. It is a really good game, Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown. He also put the converter dock on there from Genki, which is basically just a little pocket-sized dock that you can plug in your HDMI cord, your power cord, or it has power, but just everything all in one to be able to play your Switch on. And then I recommended Metroid Prime Remastered, of course, and the cracked gear bag. Actually, I've been using that sucker every day. Um, I can easily throw my Switch with the cracked Nitro deck on it in that bag, or I take that out, and the bag still does really good holding my stuff to when I go out for a long day. It's a shoulder bag. So again, go to nintendodads.org slash nindad gift ideas, or just go to our,
So just go to the
nintendodads.org
homepage and click the gift
and
guide
click
on the
on
top.
gift ideas. Yeah.
That's the easier way to
ideas.
do it.
There's also a link to the Nintendo page for all the stuff we talked about, taking you to their Happy Holidays page to get more gift ideas. So, since we forgot about talking about that, I wanted to make sure we brought that up. So we got a few questions in the community this week, a couple that we carried over, and another that we have that we got new. First one is first couple is from Mecha Dragon. What are some games on your Switch backlog that you want to try and complete or beat before picking up the Switch 2?
Tears of the Kingdom. That one, and golly.
I do want to go
That-
back. I do want to go back to try to finish Echoes of Wisdom.
Okay. What? Well, I'll answer it, and then I'm going to ask you a follow-up question. I think I want to go back to Mario and Rabbids, the second one, because I started playing that because they had the demo,
Yeah.
and I want to go back to that because I was actually fun. I was having fun with that. So, I would go back to that one. But with that in mind, it made me think of this question: what game haven't you played or stopped playing on the Switch, but want to play on the Switch too?
Ooh,
Hmm.
that's a great question.
My answer is Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
I will play that on Switch too, see what that's like on there.
Mine is probably Metroid Prime Remastered.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to see if Scarlet and Violet gets an improvement or not.
You already know the answer to that, Jesse.
Well, I mean,
Don't tease
not in
yourself.
terms of they're going to update the software to fit the hardware. I'm just talking about, will the better hardware make the game playable as is?
That would be interesting. We'll have to test that theory out.
Maybe not. We won't know until someone tries it.
Right. All right. Sparks of Hope Episode is reminding me that that's what that second one was called for Mario and Rabbids. So thanks, Episode. And he also said Breath of the Wild. I'm assuming maybe for his answer. All right. So, and Vic said absolutely finish Mario and Rabbids. Highly recommend. So yes, I definitely want to jump on that one. All right. Mecha also asks, are trading cards considered a toy? And this is in reference to what was listed as the new
Toy Hall
inductees
of
to
Fame.
the Toy Hall of Fame, which is Transformers, and My Little Pony, and Phase 10 card game.
I think if you're looking at it from just a retail perspective, then yeah. Get board
And I think
games
in this
and
case,
card
that
games
is what they're
are
doing.
in the toy section.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and I would say about Phase 10. Phase 10 is a game that is simple enough that a child can understand it, but complex enough that it keeps adults playing. So that to me would be considered a toy. Yes, I mean anything. I mean, I've got a pen on my desk and I can play with it and it'd be considered a toy. But I mean, I've also got a fidget
Yeah.
cube. There's a huge gulf and
If it
between
gives
them.
entertainment, it can be considered a toy.
I do think that's an interesting pick, but I think Uno's been in before Phase 10.
Yeah, I didn't look to see if that was I'm assuming it was because it was brought up in the discussion about Phase 10 being inducted. So,
Yeah, the article said that it's the second most popular card game to
Ah,
Uno.
okay.
so there you go. So I would hope
Gotcha.
Uno was there. I don't, but I didn't look at the list of everything that was
Yeah.
there. All right.
It took way too long for Transformers to get in there.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well,
Mecha Dragon.
even My Little Pony is, they're of the same era. They were both around 83,
Yeah.
84 when they got their start.
Yeah.
Mecha's in the chat and he says, y'all better pick My Little Pony. Again, everything was picked already. And My Little Pony's in, along with
I
Transformers
mean,
and Phase 10.
let's throw
Those
this out
three.
here, okay? In 1998, Crayola crayons were inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Toy Hall
wow.
of Fame. Yeah,
So there you
And
go.
when did this Hall of Fame start?
1998. That year, here were inductees. There were 11.
11
Uh,
inductees.
yes, that's what it
Okay.
says. All inducted toys. So Teddy
Okay.
Bear, Erector Set, Crayola crayons, Frisbee, Barbie, Etch a Sketch, Monopoly, Tinker Toys, Play-Doh, marbles, and Lego.
Okay.
I'm okay with that's a good list to start things off, I think.
Yep.
1999 was Lincoln Logs, Hula Hoop, Yo-Yo, Viewmaster, roller skates, and a wagon.
There's a
So
Do we ever
lot,
get
I'm
do
sure.
we ever get
I would
Light
not.
Bright in there? I mean, I had one of those as a kid.
Me
I'm
too.
sure. I'm sure. I actually, Jesse, now that you mentioned that, I want to say Light Bright was last year.
Was it last year?
Hey, baseball. Speaking of cards, last year baseball cards went in.
Oh, wow.
I
I
could see
know
that because there's people that used it to play their own games and also used it to make motorcycle sounds on their bicycles.
three toys were inducted in 22: Masters of the Universe, the Top, and Light Bright.
There you
Oh,
go.
So there you
I
go.
called it.
Yep. You know what? This one makes me laugh the most, and then we're going to move on. In 2021, Sand.
Yes. I can't tell you how many
Well,
times I played in
I,
sand as a kid.
I had a sandbox in my backyard
Yep.
growing up.
Yeah, my cat loved it.
Did you see Uno on that box? In that list, I mean?
I'm looking. Jingo was in 2020. I'm sure Uno's in here. Magic the Gathering was in 2019.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Unfortunately, there's not a Uno was 2018. I was about to
Okay.
say there's not a search feature where you
Okay.
could search and see if it's in there.
They
But
need to work on
yeah,
that. All right. So great questions as usual, Mecca. Thank you very much for that. Darth Platypus asks, Nintendo has chosen you guys to help revamp Nintendogs to Nintendo Pets. Of course, there will be dogs and cats, but what other types of pets are you adding? And what animals from Nintendo games would be special unlockable pets?
are you ready for this? Nintendo Fish.
There you go. And this guy would be unlockable.
If Poochie was not an available Nintendog, that would
Yes,
be a travesty.
this would have to be one.
But
Poochie,
honestly,
definitely.
imagine this, guys. Imagine it with me. All right. It's a new collaboration with Labo. It is the Nintendo Aquarium Labo set.
Okay. I like that.
You
That's a
you
good
put
idea.
your screen into the front of the Labo set.
Hmm.
It becomes a virtual aquarium, and you use your Joy-Con to shake fish food into it.
That works.
And then you have to use another Joy-Con, switch tools, scoop the fish out, take them off screen, dump
Clean
the
the fish
water
tank out.
out, put it back in, all
Virtual
with
porcelain throne for disposal.
lo-fi music in the background.
Of course.
Mm.
You got to be able to catch one of those Pokemon fish in there too.
Magikarp.
Yeah, Magikarp. Yep.
Or Goldie. What about you guys? What are you throwing in? What animals going in?
The first thing I thought of was a snake, just because we're kind of babysitting my daughter's snake because when she moved into her new apartment, she wasn't able to take him with. So kind of like you can what you said about fish and Joy-Con, they could have something where you have to feed him the mouse, and then you can see him snap at it. That kind of is an entertaining thing to watch.
What if you had to raise a farm of mice to be able to feed your snake?
I'll pass on that.
Morbid yet
We just buy them frozen.
Okay, there you go. I thought maybe the tarantula route too. You could get a pet
Oh yeah.
tarantula.
Then the second thought I had was like a guinea pig or a hamster.
Okay. There's definitely have to be a list of those exotic pets that you can get at the exotic pet store.
what if
Your
it
friendo
was
says pet rock named Chunk.
Nintendo rocks? What if it was Nintendo capybara?
No.
That's a long name. Would that fit on a cartridge?
Sure, sure it would. You wouldn't have to, Tim. It would just be a picture of a capybara.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Vic says Tanuki. Have a Tanuki on there.
No,
All right.
no Tanuki. No.
All right. Another good question
Oh.
there, Darth Platypus. Thank you very much for that. And then Koopa Kid 80 asks, have any of the dads started Christmas shopping? Waiting for Black Friday? And how is it already almost Thanksgiving? Switch 2 will be here before you know it.
Yeah, I've already started. If you remember a few months ago, back in July, we went on the McKay's road trip and got all that store credit.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's Christmas presents coming from McKay
There you go. Yep.
this year. But here's the thing. We have found some really, really great stuff
Mhm.
that I think and I'm talking like video games and Funko Pops and stuff. And we've only spent like $300 of that $1,600 store credits.
That's
So, and
crazy.
it doesn't expire. So we're gonna go, find some more stuff probably before Christmas, but I'm waiting for a passable. They had a actual Super Famicom, um, but it was super yellowed, and I just don't want to go through all of it had the controller, the Japanese controller
Yeah.
version and everything. I just didn't want to go through all the hassle of cleaning it, trying to
Wait,
bring it back to life.
are there parts on the Famicom that get yellow? Oh, you
Yeah,
said Super Famicom. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Super Famicom.
Got it.
I would really like to have a Famicom or a Super Famicom,
Okay.
but anyway,
And it has to be from there because you got the credit. So
yeah, I want,
just
yeah.
keep that in mind
Yeah.
because I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
get people to be like, "Hey, I can find you one, Marty." It's
Yeah.
like, no, it's
I have a
fine.
Famicom. I don't have any games to play on it, but I have one.
So I think it was David Bylicka told me when we were in New York to go to this bookstore. It was Book Off was the name of it, and they had an entire section of Japanese video games versions, and they had I had at one time in my hand I had Mario 2, Mario or not Mario USA. It was Mario 3, the original Mario Brothers, and Rockman 3. But they
Wow.
were and I almost bought them, but they some of them people have written on them and stuff, and the labels weren't I would like cleaner versions than what they had. So it was a really cool store to go to and see some of those things.
Hey, Andros just rated us. What's up, Andros?
Hello,
Thanks for the
love it.
raid.
Right at the end. Right then. What about you guys? You started shopping for Christmas yet?
I have a
A
few
little
gifts
bit.
done. I normally try to trickle it throughout the year, just so it doesn't hit me hard, at the end. And if I get an idea, if I don't buy it right away, I'm going to forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I haven't been as good at that late in the last few years as I used to be when the kids were, still living at home, and I could see and listen in on their conversations and say what they and see what they
Yeah.
wanted and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't happen anymore. But lately, the kids are just say, "Hey, I want this," and I'm like, "Okay, if it's in my budget, I can probably arrange it. If it's not, I'll get you something else." And in fact, in my oldest daughter's case, she goes, "This is what I want." I'm like, "Okay, that's a little bit more than I was planning. If I buy it, that's all you're getting." And she goes, "I'm good with that."
Yeah.
And I ordered it.
There's there's things I buy throughout the year too, but mainly I don't really start thinking about it or thinking about that because usually in the front half of the year is everybody's birthdays in my family, so that's why I don't really do much of the Christmas shopping throughout the year. But after, uh, those are it.
Yeah. No, this is for the youngest daughter who asked for it.
Okay.
These were more within reasonable budget.
Yeah.
I think what the oldest daughter wanted was maybe like $100 more than what these cost.
So, yep. So for me, it's usually September and after is when I start picking up stuff. Especially if I see a sale or whatever. Like there was a couple things at Box Lunch that I picked up that were on a really good, like 70% off type deal. So I picked up a couple things there. And then um I did pick up something else. Oh yeah, for my nephew. There was something, it was a sale, Amazon, their sales had a sale on something that my nephew was into, so we picked up something there too.
Cool. Well, guys, I think that finishes us off for episode 503 of the Nintendo Dads podcast. We want to thank you for hanging out with us till the very end here. And as we close out the show, we want to say a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Jacqueline Amira, and our 100 plus other patrons. Thank you guys so much for supporting us, whatever level you support us at. Even if you don't support us on Patreon, you just listen to the show. Maybe you share it with people or you interact with us every week by downloading the podcast. Whatever you do, we love you and we are so thankful for you. Also, huge thanks to our 15 Twitch Prime subscribers, over 1,400 Twitch followers, and shout out to our 7,700, almost 7,800 YouTube subscribers. We would not be here if it weren't for you. And so we're thankful for any interaction you have with this podcast. Check out our website that Tim already mentioned earlier in the show, nintendodads.org. That's where you get Spotify podcast feeds for our show, as well as our other family of podcasts like Star Wars Dads and Retro Logic, and all of their family of podcasts, our latest YouTube videos and tweets, social media, Patreon, our gift guide for holiday season 2024, and lots more. Don't forget to check out manscaped.com, our sponsor, where you can get 20% off your order and free shipping with the code NINDADS. That's NINDADS at manscaped.com. Email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for the music we use throughout the show. And reminder, wherever you catch us in your podcatcher of choice, please use their system to leave us some kind of review, like a 5-star review, plus some comments. Any interaction like that helps push us up the charts, helps people find the show, and it just makes you a great person. The sun shines a little bit brighter when you do that every day. I promise. Hey, for me, for Jesse, for Tim, and G1 Optimus Prime, it's been episode 503. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
If this is your jam, you are screwed up.
What's wrong with you?